Hi there. In this video, we're going to help you improve your template on an aesthetic level so that the final results look more professional. We aren't going to teach you anything you don't already know how to do, but instead give you some recommendations for making your templates much better looking. Remember, it's the little things that make the biggest difference. We're going to focus on three important points: template color, button fonts, and using inactive buttons as headers. First, let's talk about the template background. As you probably already know, when you open a new template, the default background color is light grey. Although this is a fairly neutral color, our design team always recommends that you change it to a plain white background. Just like on the majority of websites on the internet, placing text and images on a white background tends to give the best contrast. The same rules can be applied to template creation. So, let's change the background color to white in our template. To do this, simply go to the Windows tab and change the background color to white. If you've used white recently, it'll be in the Recently Selected Colors section. If not, you can select the various palettes for white or enter the color code FFFFFF. 6 Fs, which corresponds to white. As you can see, the background has changed subtly. As well as changing the color, you also have the option of setting an image as your background. Select the picture and check the Stretch Picture option to fit the image to the window. We, however, are going to continue with the plain white background, so we'll delete this image. Okay, let's change the button fonts in our template. By default, Naxport buttons will use the Arial font, and, truth be told, this is an excellent option which is clear and readable, something we always advise you look for in your chosen font. Overly designed fonts can make your template difficult to read and understand, so use classic fonts. This is especially important if your template will be shared with other people in your team. Verdana is a great choice, as is Franklin Gothic, Nunito, Railway, and, of course, Arial. You decide, but please choose one which is easy to read. Bradley Hand is a font which we don't recommend, for example. It imitates calligraphy and is difficult to read, especially when condensed in a small button. Let's put it into our template and you can see that it becomes almost impossible to read. For our template, we'll choose Verdana Pro Regular with a size of 11. As you can see, this looks good. Okay, let's move on to talk about inactive buttons. These are buttons which are not clickable. They have no purpose other than serving as headers for other buttons, which is great for organising your template. This attack and defense button, for example, is inactive. As you can see here, the inactive button function is active. If we deactivate this, the editing options will appear again. So yes, this button is here to purely act as a header for the buttons below it. Transitions is another. All our buttons relating to match transitions are grouped below it. Extra information is the same, containing buttons for players, areas of field, etc. The last thing we're going to discuss in this video is colour, something extremely important for template aesthetics. This template looks alright, but it's a bit boring with so much grey. It lacks life and vibrancy. So, let's add some colour to our template to bring it to life. We have to be careful though. We've seen many templates that have been ruined by garish colours. We recommend that you stick to varying shades of pastel colours instead of extremely bright colours. We need colours which complement each other nicely, but if you're not a designer by trade, how can you choose these colours? Well, there's a nice little free tool on the internet you can use, a staple of professional designers like those in the Naxport design team. Coolers.co. This page has a lot of options, but let's have a look at a tool which is great for colouring our template. We go to Explore Trending Palettes. This is a list of palettes most used by users of the page. There are endless palettes used by professional designers. Here we can see the number of times these palettes have been saved. Of course, the higher the number, the more popular the colour scheme is. We'll choose a palette which best suits our template. Remember, the shirts of our players are red, so we'll use this as our primary colour. We return to the web page and search for palettes where red is the primary colour, or at least a major component of it. We now have several options, reds with browns, others with red and pink tones, and even some which combine pastel yellows and blues. In our case, we're going to choose this one that has a couple of shades of red, a cream colour, and a couple of blue options. We click on the menu in the corner and select Open in the Generator. The 5 colours in this palette are now shown in full screen. We can do a few things here. First of all, we can remove a colour if we want to lessen the options. We can see the different shades of this colour. Here we can favourite specific colours or move it within the palette. We can also copy the hexadecimal code and lock the colour to the palette. The two most important tools for us are the differing shades and hexadecimal code. Let's go to our first colour. The number 780000 is the hex code, which we'll need for working with Naxboard. We select one of our buttons, in this case a category. Select the option to change the background colour, go to the hexadecimal input box, double click the current colour and then paste the new colour with the right mouse button. To confirm the change, press enter and you'll see a preview of the colour in the box. When we return to the template, you'll see that the button has changed colour. Now, we're going to colour the descriptors associated with the category in different shades of red. How? Well, we go back to Coolers and click on the View Shades button. Here, we can use various shades to use in our template. It's a good idea to choose every second shade to make the difference between each a little more pronounced. Select the colour, copy the code, go back to our template and change the colour in the same way as we did before. Repeat this process for each descriptor button and we can see our template begin to take shape. Now we're done and our template is starting to look very nice. However, there are some texts in black which don't look good as the background is a bit dark. Again, Coolers can help us here. We go back to the website. Notice it shows us which contrast is best, white text or black text. We suggest you do the same. So, we go back to our template. Only the last button needs black text according to Coolers. The rest use white text. We select the first 4 buttons and change their colour to white. But what if the text is still not entirely clear? We can always change the font and style. In this case, we'll make them bold for better visibility. We can replicate these colours in the second column. We select the buttons and change their colour. The recently used colours can be found in the bottom bar, so we don't have to return to coolers for the moment. For the other columns, we can use the same range, or, as in this case, change to another colour in our palette. We'll use the blue colour for the next two columns. One last tip before we end, which is not related to colour. Play with the position of the counter when you join the columns. Put the left counter on the left side of the button and, on the right, the opposite. This can help you be much more organised. And that's it for this series. From start to finish, we've produced a great looking template. Now, we'd like to offer you this template completely free of charge so that you can import it into your Knacksport, play with it, see how it was made, and adapt it to your needs. Find out how to get it in the description of this video. If you have any other questions about this video, or anything else related to Knacksport, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Thanks for watching. Bye.